I'm sorry, I thought we were waving.
No, I'm trying to keep from fainting here.
Oh, no, we don't want that.
No. Thank you.
I know you can't see my drawing, but I do have an arrow here. And that's showing me that the sun is rising. So that's where the sun is coming from. So that helps to keep me focused on where the lights are versus the shadows. So we're going to take some orange. And at first I want it really strong. Not pink though. Don't like the pink. No, it's still pink. It's better. I want some strong stuff going on. And then softer. As I come in here to the blues. Now when you make the blues, when you hit the blues, it doesn't make sense. When you blend with the blues, how's that better? It can make a really great gray up underneath on the underside of the clouds where they're deeper and they're denser in water. It's too quiet. Somebody ask a question.
When you have a pause, can you move totally away from the canvas so we can see the whole thing for a minute?
I have a question for you. When you use this gesso and your glazing together, does it make your colors come out stronger? No?
No, if anything, it weakens them because it's diluting it.
They dry slower because of it?
They do a little bit. The glazing medium will extend it a little bit, but not like an extender. Not that much.
Do you have a wet palette there with a sponge underneath it?
I don't use the sponge. I had one in here when I first got it, but I don't use it because I like the fact that the acrylic paints do not smell. Oils always smells bad. I couldn't stand it. But if you use the sponge underneath and you leave it there, like you close your palette and come back to work the next day, and the next day it's starting to smell. And that's not the acrylics, that's the water and the sponge. So I find it's just easier for me to just use my spray bottle and just put a quick mist over top. And if I do that before I close it up, it's good to go the next day. But there's not excess moisture in there that's going bad.
That's a good point. I had the same problem.
And the other nice thing about skies is they can do anything. You don't have to worry too much about it. You can just play in it.
brush. It looks like a real soft one.
It is, it's long, and it's,
That's done.
Filbert.
Filbert.
filbert, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yes.
I love my filberts. I was shopping in Michael's with Detta
Yes.
many years ago, and it was so funny because she said, whatever you do not buy a filbert brush. I said, really, Detta? I love my filberts. And she went, sorry. She used nothing but browns. She used one size, like a number 8, and she had so many of them. But that was her preference, and that's good. Everybody should have their preference. Find out what works for you and go with it. I like that strong color in there. It's as if the sun is bouncing off the clouds. Okay, I covered up my arrow, but my arrow was going this way, so. With some of the strong, heavy-bodied white, so it won't blend so much. I'm trying to get a little bit more of that light effect.
And then just use a paper towel with a brush instead of swashing it around in water.
Yeah.
Is that typical or is that?
Well, I'm trying not to be messy with my water while I'm here in the HUD. But yeah, I try not to put too much water on the brush because then that will,
Make a mess.
well, it thins it out. And then when you're painting it, the water runs down this way, makes a mess. So I try to keep my brush dry.
You know you've been here a while when you call this building your hut.
Yep.
I mentioned that to Jan. She couldn't get Cuthbert out. I said, oh, you mean the azalea hut? She said, oh man, that's going to be so much easier. So we got to have some more activity in here. That color's too flat.
Lou, why do you prefer the long brush to the short brush?
Well, I'm trying to stand further away so that you guys have maybe a better view. And it's a looser technique, which I use on larger pieces like this. When I'm working on smaller pieces, trust me, I've got a gazillion brushes and I've got a lot of smaller brushes. But then I'm up here like this, and if I'm doing that, then you guys can't see quite as well what I'm doing.
Do you always paint at the easel? Do you always paint with the upright of an easel?
Unless I'm working on small things, 5x7s, 8x10s, I'll sit at the table or have an easel on the table or on the counter.
Okay, but it's still, your canvas is rather upright.
Yeah. Okay, we need to make a little more movement in the yellow, because that's a bit flat. How's that looking?
Like a big spot.
Does it look
Big spot.
like a big,
It's a big sign.
like a big mess?
No, big side.
Okay, so we got a big sky. Good enough. So now we want some background. I'm going into green here, I'm going into the Van Dyke brown and putting it in with my yellow. And my mud. I want it kind of dark-ish. If the sun's coming in this way, then any landscape, trees and such are going to be darker on this side. I also have found with age that my hands are shakier. And if I use this technique, it's supposed to be that way. Right?
Uh-huh.
Slave to your strengths.
Hey, sometimes you got to.
How do you get through a painting that somebody has asked you to do that you hate?
Excuse me?
How do you get through a painting that somebody has asked you to do that you hate?
Hate the subject.
I don't do things that I hate. I did a couple of big koi painting commissions. I'd never painted fish before. I had no idea what I was doing. But I considered it to be a challenge. And I also considered that I can paint anything. Give me some time, I'll work it out. And luckily, he wanted bold, strong colors, which is why he asked me to do it. And that's usually what I tell people. If you don't like my style, go find somebody whose style you like. Ask them. Don't ask me to change my style. Find the artist first. And then, that way, when they come to me, they already know how I do it, what I do,